of a new future as an alliance, because we are an alliance. Here I have the statement. With your permission, I will proceed to read this declaration of the Extraordinary Summit of Heads of State and Government of ALBA-TCP, 11th Summit, Caracas, Cradle of Liberators, Monday, August 26, 2024. We, the heads of state and government of the member countries of the Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of Our America, People's Trade Treaty, ALBA-TCP, committed to the founding principles and values of solidarity, social justice, and cooperation, in adherence to the purposes and principles of the Charter of the United Nations and international law, meeting on August 26, 2024, decide as follows. Being the sister Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, a founding member country of ALBA-TCP, a unionist project envisioned by Liberator Simon Bolivar and the heroes and heroines of the independence deeds of Latin America and the Caribbean, and realized by commanders Hugo Rafael Chavez Frias and Fidel Castro Ruz. The member countries of this trade alliance acknowledge that this kind of nation of our America is a sovereign and independent country with high democratic standards and in compliance with its sacred constitution, which organized presidential elections in accordance with the corresponding regulatory times. Throughout the years of growth of this great unionist and integrationist project, we have witnessed the work and leadership of President Nicolás Maduro Moros at the helm of this sister nation in the face of the fiercest onslaught of transnational powers, in the worst political, geopolitical, social, and economic conditions in the current world, in which some of our sister countries have been direct victims of imperialism, as well as witnesses to an unparalleled onslaught against the Venezuelan nation through over 930 unilateral, extortive, and illegal coercive measures aimed at strangling the Venezuelan economy and society. Therefore, we hereby strongly condemn any coup d'etat or attempted coup d'etat, as they constitute the violent, illegal, and unconstitutional way that threatens democracy, peace, and life itself, as well as the destabilizing plans and actions promoted by foreign factors, which attempt to disregard the will of the peoples of Latin America and the Caribbean expressed democratically and legitimately at the ballot box. We strongly repudiate the brutal communicational warfare, full of hatred, intolerance, discrimination, and contempt through social media, strategically aimed at the younger generations of the Venezuelan society, victims of disinformation and hyperinformation, to promote violence, vandalism, and barbarism. 3. Reject the attacks and acts of vandalism against people, public infrastructure, religious and national symbols representing the Venezuelan idiosyncrasy, which caused human and material losses in order to create an information matrix of chaos in a country where a historic election date was held in peace and democracy. 4. Denounce the disregard of the official results of the electoral process by a violent and fascist sector of the Venezuelan opposition that has openly requested interventionism and more sanctions for the country at the expense of the Venezuelan people in different occasions, and which had already shown signs of its coup intentions by not signing the agreement for the respect of the electoral results as promoted by the Venezuelan governing body, the National Electoral Council. 5. demand the international community to respect the sovereignty, the self-determination, and the democratic will of the Venezuelan people. We regret the decision of some governments to question the electoral results in Venezuela and to promote discourses that do not reflect the reality of the country. It is essential that all states recognize the principle of non-interference in the internal affairs and work together to foster dialogue and constructive cooperation rather than fuel divisions. 6. Recognize, just a second. Recognize that Venezuela is a free, independent, democratic, and sovereign state that has its own institutions and laws to address its internal affairs. In this regard, we welcome the decision of the Electoral Chamber of the Supreme Court of Justice to settle this electoral controversy in a worthy example of full exercise of sovereignty and thus guaranteeing peace and tranquility to the Venezuelan people. 7. Salute all the participants in the electoral contest who appeared before the Supreme Court of Justice to contribute to the peace and stability of the Venezuelan people, which is a sign of political maturity and active democracy in the sister nation. While we regret that some political actors who denounce alleged irregularities did not appear before the Supreme Court of Justice, failing to fulfill their commitment to the people as presidential candidates. 8. Congratulate the constitutional president Nicolás Maduro Moros and his people who, with resilience and adherence to justice, have been able to defeat the attempted coup d'etat, and we reaffirm our commitment and unrestricted support to the constitutional, legitimate, and democratically elected government. 9. Reaffirm, once again, that Latin America and the Caribbean is a zone of peace. We demand the strict compliance with the obligation not to intervene, directly or indirectly, in the internal affairs of any other states, and to fully respect the inalienable rights of every state to choose its political, economic, social, and cultural system as an essential requirement to guarantee peaceful coexistence among nations, peace and stability in the region. We gather to defend today more than ever the sister Venezuelan people from the tentacles of fascism and to raise our voices to reject the interference, manipulation, and imperialist, colonialist, and coup intentions to seize our legitimate rights and resources, and which have caused so much harm to our peoples. Defending Venezuela is to defend the dream of unity and brotherhood of our heroes and peoples. Caracas, August 26, 2024. Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of Our America. Approved.